shit. Hey guys, welcome back. So I've been sitting here debating. I'm like, okay, I need to straighten my hair because last night I put an oil in it, an oil that I'm testing, and oh my god, I can't wait to do the review because my hair, I've just been running my hands through my fingers. What am I talking about? I've been running my hands through my hair because it's so soft. Anyway, that's besides the point. And so I really just have been feeling kind of bummed today, and I was like, I should just get up, do a tutorial because I don't have that many hours left in my day. I have to go take care of my mama and do some stuff. And look at them roots though. I'm gonna get my hair done on Thursday. Anyway, so yeah, I just was like, you know what? It's time that I do part 3 of my son's story. The last one, part 2 that I did, I left off saying that I went to go get my daughter milk. That was it. I can't believe it. Like, I was so emotionally drained after that story that I literally like stopped in the middle of a sentence. I couldn't record anymore. So anyway, I'm here to finish it off. I'm gonna try to stay strong because I don't know if I will be able to, but anyway, so I'm just gonna start off, and so hopefully you guys ignore my nappy hair. Like, look at this. It's so gross. I can't get over how gross my hair looks, but like I said, Thursday I get it done, and that oil has just been like, oh, I just can run. It's just really great. Go check out the 2 last videos that I did. I will link them down below. Part 1 and part 2 of my son's story. This is finally number 3, and I don't know if there will be another part. There may be, of a bunch of things that I left out, because I try to watch my videos, but I can't finish them. Like, I start watching them and I get too emotional. It's too real. Like, I can't even believe I did them at this point. Like, it's been going on 2 months since I recorded the last one, and I've been wanting to record part 3 for you guys for so long, and it's the last part. It's a hard part, you know. So yeah, so anyway, I left off saying that I had gone to get my daughter some milk. I was at my last day of work and I was ready to come home. My son, daughter, and my mother were at home and waiting for me. It was 9 something in the morning, and I remember deciding to go get milk instead. So I'm at the store and I just left my phone in my car, which I usually never do. Like, well, I guess back then I did. Now, like, I have my phone on me 24/7, but I left my phone in my car, and I remember getting in, and it was one of those Razor phones. I don't know if you guys remember. It was like a hot pink Razor. It was burning hot when I got back in the car, and I touched it and I was like, oh, I'm not even gonna open it because it's so hot. But I opened it and I saw that I had a voicemail, and it was my mom. So I called back, or I listened to the voicemail, and literally all my mom said, her voice replays in my head, and it will probably replay in my head for the rest of my life. And she said, she was crying, and she said, what did she say? It was like, she said, Velma, JJ stopped breathing, quick, come to the hospital, or something like that. Like, I don't know exactly anymore, but I just hear the terror in her voice replay in my head. And I remember sitting in my car and I was listening to that voicemail, and I closed my phone and to open it back up so I can call somebody, and like I couldn't, like, my mind just went blank. I could see the numbers, but I couldn't call my sister. I couldn't remember numbers. I couldn't remember how to push the arrow down to go to my sister's number. Like, it was such a bizarre feeling, and I always well, now what I feel happened is it's a panic attack, you know. I now experience panic attacks, so it was something along the lines. I don't know. I remember grabbing my key, putting it into the ignition, and I couldn't turn. Like, literally, I put the key in and I couldn't find the hole. Like, I just kept on slipping. My hand was really numb. I just remember just not being able to talk. I couldn't think. I just went blank. Like, I just remember just being there. And finally, somehow, I got the key in there. I like snapped myself out of it, put the key in, turned on the key, and I hit the gas. And I remember the road that I had to pass was a busy road. It's always busy. It's the busiest road. The cars are just zooming by, and I just remember not even stopping, not even looking both ways at any of the stop signs until I got to the hospital. And that's something that I always look back and I'm like, wow, like I could have just been gone. I could have just died for a stupid, I mean, it wasn't a stupid mistake. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. And I just remember pulling into the, I could see the ambulance parked there. And I could see cop cars. And I just remember pulling up next to the ambulance, and this is like the ambulance parks, you know, in the little opening at the hospital, which you're not supposed to go through there, but I parked my car right there, left the door open, ran off, and a cop just like grabs me and he's like, ma'am, you need to move your car. And I was like, no, that's my son, like that's my son, I need to get to him. And he's like, get back in your car, like yelling at me, you know. And I was like, and I at that point I was already back, like I don't know, I was back to normal or whatever, like I was thinking. And so I jumped in my car and I was so pissed off. I wasn't crying at this point, I was just pissed off. I was like, what the hell, like, you know, I told him, like, I'm the mom. And he said, you need to go move your car, it can't be there or whatever. So I moved it, I don't remember, just down the street, ran back into the same entrance. And I guess I wasn't supposed to run into there, because as I walked in, I see this emergency room where the curtain's at, and the curtain's wide open. But as I walked in, I'm standing here, and on this side I could see them working on my son. Like a lot of people working on my son and police officers there. And then I look straight this way to the doorway, and my family is like trying to look this way, but they can't. So I wasn't supposed to see what I saw. You know, I saw them doing CPR on him. His little... Okay, so I saw them doing CPR on him and, you know, trying to get him back. And I just remember seeing he was naked and he had a little pamper. Anyway, the cops, like, it was two cops, they were like holding me back, you know, because I was trying to go towards him. And the cop was like, you can't go over there, they're working on him. And, you know, I just wanted to know what had happened. I just didn't know. And I saw my husband, and they took me to the waiting room, you know, and just to wait. And they said, we'll be right out, we'll let you know what's going on. So I sat down with my husband and, like, I think my mom, my sister, I don't remember, people were there. And I remember, like, literally I sat down, 5 minutes later, the doctor in white coat, everything, he comes out, and you could just tell, you know, he said I wasn't gonna cry. Okay, I'm okay. So, like, you could just tell, and he gets in front of me and he tells me, he like shakes his head, you know, and I just start crying. And he said, I'm sorry, we did all we could do. Like, that's shit you only hear in movies, you know? And so I remember standing up and, like, pushing him. I think I pushed him. I feel so bad, because, I mean, like, you never know how you're gonna react, you know? And I just told him no, and I just, like, I think I started being aggressive, you know? And finally, like, I think I hugged my mom or something, and he said, come back, you can come back and see him. And when I walked back there, oh shit, when I remember passing, I remember people just looking at me, you know, people that were at the hospital for whatever reason. And I remember going to him, and he's laying on the bed, and he's just in his pamper. He still had the tube in him. They, like, only had the part that was sticking out, so they didn't take it out yet. And, you know, they just left him like that. And I just remember touching him. I didn't want to pick him up. Like, I just remember kissing him. I don't know, I don't remember what I did. I think I hugged him for sure, and I just held him. And my husband at the time, he picked him up, and I just remember him holding his little body, and, like, he had a hard time. Like, that's the only thing with my ex, like, we hate each other. Who doesn't, you know? I don't hate him, but, like, I just felt so bad for him. I remember everybody crying, and I was crying, but, like, I felt like I was in shock. And I remember just everybody saying their goodbyes to him. And then I remember, like, a pastor coming in, something, I don't know, a lot happened in that, like, few moments. They left him there with us. They had told me not to touch him, that they were gonna have to investigate, whatever. And so, but then finally, one of the investigators was like, you know what, go ahead. He let us touch him. We wanted to pick him up. He let us touch him. And then I remember a cop so bad because I remember I was crying and crying and by myself because I think my sister was hugging my mom, I think, and like my husband was with like the baby with JJ, and like everybody was hugging each other and I'm just here alone, you know. I was just sitting there or standing there, I don't remember. And I remember I started crying. I was crying, and somebody, I remember just feeling like this warm, like somebody just hugged me, like a real caring hug, you know, like when your mom hugs you or something. And I remember like pulling back and looking at the person, and it was a cop. Like it was just this older cop. He was crying. He was like, I know I was the one that was supposed to be sad, but he was like crying so bad, like the way I am right now. He felt so horrible, and he just said like the sweetest things that I needed at that exact moment. Like I can't believe it was like a cop, not somebody else, you know. And I don't know, I always wondered if I could find him again, but I don't think I'd remember what he looked like. I just know he was an older cop and he was just super sweet. Like he didn't have to, you know, like sympathize, and I don't know, it felt good to have someone there. And after that, you know, they came and they took him, and or I don't remember what happened after that. Like I just remember leaving. When you pause the video to try to calm the heck down. Anyway, so I just remember, I think they took him, you know, to the morgue or whatever, and that day we lived in a place. We had a house, and I never went back to that house ever again. From that day, like I was supposed to go home that day. So anyway, after that, we had to leave, and they had to take us to the police department where we were, I guess, interrogated or, you know, whatever. And so they had to obviously investigate because a child's death is nothing to mess with. And they asked us all these questions, and I mean, it was hard because it just had to happen. Like, I don't know, like it had just happened, but I mean, the law, it's what has to be done. And so it happened, and you know, everything was fine. They they did an autopsy on my son, and what happened, what my mom said happened was she was alone with them, and JJ, he was on the couch, I want to say, or in his chair, I don't remember, but I just know that she said he wasn't breathing. Like she went up to him and he wasn't breathing, and she said, I remember her saying that the therapist had just got there, the physical therapist, which, oh, I don't even want to think about because I'll cry. And that therapist, she would see him, I think, twice a week or something, and she was walking in as the ambulance was getting there, you know. And so she was in tears, like and my mom said that she picked him up and like tried slapping him a little, and he wouldn't, you know, he wasn't conscious. And she had grabbed my baby, which was 1 year old, Cadence, or less than a year old. She had to hold her, and you know, so I don't know, my mom just called 911 and they came and all that. So that's what happened there. And my mom has always blamed herself. Like, I know she blamed herself so much for it, and I've always talked to her that things like this happen for a reason, even though we don't want to believe it, you know. Like, that's where your faith in God has to be, because if I didn't have him, if I didn't know who God was, God, who knows, like I could have killed myself. And for a while, I don't know if you guys want me to make another video about this, but right after he passed away, 1 week later, me and my ex left each other. So it was hard. I went through divorce. I went through never going home. Like, I didn't go back to my house. We moved right away. I couldn't go back there. So I begged, and I told him we need to leave, and so we left there. And I begged him to go home, or, you know, to get another home, and we did. Like, that same day, you know, we took time off work. We did all that, and I begged him to, like, never go back. And anyway, so I'm getting lost. I didn't go back. I don't know what I was saying. Yeah, so me and we left each other. Like, people say that, you know, once you lose a child, it's hard, and he does look exactly like him. He reminds me of him, but we were having problems. Like, he told me he loved someone else. A week later, he told me that he loved this girl that he was working with. So that happened. I was 245 pounds. I mean, I hated myself, and I was so not happy, you know. I wasn't happy because I was so overweight. I'm still overweight, but like I lost so much weight after that, and I've never gone back to that weight, thank God. And I was a bitter person, so I mean, I can't imagine him having to put up with me and me with him. He was a mean person, so like either way, it was God's way of like, you know, just changing things. Like I lost my house, I lost my husband, I lost my child. I feel like at that point in time I lost everything, you know, but in a way I found myself through all that. It's so true when they say that when you can gain, there's light after. I don't know what I'm trying to say, you guys. I'll put that phrase in here if I remember. But through everything that happened, I found myself. I was so unindependent. When I lived with my husband, he controlled everything I did. I couldn't. And I'm not bashing him. He's a great person. He's a great person. He probably will watch this video. Great. So he's a great person. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying that we had our differences, and it wasn't a relationship I needed to be in. It wasn't one he needed to be in, and it wasn't right to be fighting around our kids. So anyway, that ended, and we went our separate ways. It was a big fight. There was a big fight with family, everything, you know. His family blamed my family for my son's death. But anyway, like, the point that I'm trying to say is that God does everything for a reason, and I completely believe that, and I believe it, and I know God is always in control. And I'm sad. Like right now I'm crying because the memories hurt, but I feel so blessed that I know that God, he's with God. And I mean, all your guys' comments are amazing, like telling me, you know, everything, all the sweet comments. I believe it. I believe that he is fine and he's happy and he's not in pain, because he was about to face so many surgeries in life. And what he passed away was, I'm sorry, I'm really all over the place. What he passed away was complications of a seizure, and he had a really bad seizure and he just never regained consciousness. So that is what happened, you know. That's how he passed away. And it just saddens me. A lot of people say you can't pass away from a seizure, you know, but he couldn't breathe. And I know seizures so much. So I mean, my dad has seizures, he has epilepsy, so I see him go through the worst ones, you know, the grandma, the worst seizures ever. So I feel like I had a good eye of when he would go through them, of what to do and all that. So anyway, that's enough of that. Kind of done there. But anyway, I also wanted to say that we did end up suing, and that's a whole other story. I would never think of suing anybody, because I never said, oh, I hate that doctor, I blame him. Like, I've never blamed people, because I know God does everything for a reason. But it came a point to where my ex's parents were suing somebody, or something happened, and they had a lawyer, and so that they told the story to the lawyer, and the lawyer was like, I need to see them immediately. And so we went in, and we went in, and this was before JJ passed away. This was, I think, like when he was a year old. We started fighting this case, and it became, you know, my lawyer said that it was one of the biggest cases that he had, and you know, we did win. We won, and that's a whole other story. Let me know. I mean, we won. Okay, I don't want to. Okay, so we won the case, you know, but at this point, we won the case a week after my son passed away. I was still going through so much, and the lawyer calls me and says that we won the case. And I mean, it was a huge case. A lot of lawyers working on it. It was like $21 million, and we were only gonna receive $13 million or something like that. And so at that point, my son had just passed away, and I told the lawyer I don't want it. Like, I wanted it to have a beautiful house for him, have hospital, everything, equipment, everything that he could possibly ever need for life, and I refused it. And I refused $13 million. And you know, of course the lawyer said I wasn't in the right state of mind, so he said he was gonna, it's still an ongoing case forever probably, and he, you know, it's still, I don't know, it's been a few years, and he said that he would turn it over into a wrongful death case. And this and that, and I don't know, like just things happen. So anyway, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't really have anything else to say. That's the end of the story. But let me know if you guys want to hear more about the case. I was thinking of doing a whole story on the suing and all that, what happened. Please let me know down below. Like the video so that I can know. And also yeah, let me know if there's something that I left out, because I feel like I was talking and then I would stop. So please let me know if I could answer your questions. And yeah, just leave them in the comments. And I'm gonna do a really quick Q&A after this. I'm just gonna throw in a clip here of a few questions that you guys asked, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.